So a few years ago, this was forever ago, I was in college, living at my parents' home. Parents didn't live there, I was the only one living there. Me and some roommates, maybe. And one day I get a knock at the door. It's probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock, whatever. Um, and I go to the front door and I open the door, and there's these kids there dressed up in costumes. And at that moment, it dawned on me that it was Halloween.
Yep, still don't believe it.
And I don't understand why I don't believe it. It's like the fact that you didn't play violin.
I did play the violin, but...
No, your mom and brother say you didn't play the violin.
They don't remember anything.
Yeah, anyway, so it was Halloween. I don't know why I didn't know it was Halloween. I assume I was busy all day working or something. Just didn't know. Came home, was going about my normal day, and kids demanded candy, and I had none. And so instead of like just being like, sorry kids, totally forgot it's Halloween, bye. I went and kind of like scrounged around the house to find things. And I think I found like the oldest, yuckiest granola bars that were just in the pantry and handed those out. And immediately proceeded to close the door, turn off the lights, and leave. Because I did not want to give out crappy candy. I didn't have any candy, and it just was it was a no-win scenario for me there at that point in time. But it makes me wonder sometimes what the worst candy is that you get given out and what the best candy is. I think we've all had that kind of apocryphal house in the neighborhood that gives out king-size candy bars.
Oh, yeah.
In our case, it actually isn't apocryphal. There are neighbors that give out king-size candy bars.
There's like 3 or 4 in our neighborhood who give out king-size candy bars.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or like a soda pop can. That's a really popular house.
Yeah, like just different levels, I guess, of candy that's given out in Halloween. You're probably wondering what this has to do with books. At this point, so am I.
Okay, so here's what we're thinking. There's like a tier of candy that you get on Halloween, whether it's like leftover Easter candy or leftover parade candy, or just like, your typical like Hershey's or maybe a
Twix. Or, I mean, you get those little Tootsie Rolls. No, they're not Tootsie Rolls. Yeah, Tootsie Rolls, the brown ones.
Yeah.
They're awful.
It's like he knows nothing.
They're the lowest thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but
then you have Butterfinger, which is definitely in the top tier.
I do. Wait. No, top tier is like king-size candy bars.
A king-size Butterfinger, top of the top tier.
So, you got like the different levels of candy. So we have for you different levels of books, like a good, better, best type of situation.
Yeah, so we're really trying to keep them in the same genre, in the same subgenre. I think you could probably say it's the same trope, maybe is a good way to describe it. And it's kind of good, better, best throughout.
Ish.
Right, ish there. But that's the idea is, hey, here's the theme or maybe an idea that's done throughout 3 different books. And here does it better than others.
I like it. Okay.
All right, why don't you go first?
Which one do I start with? Okay, I'll start with this one.
Okay.
This is in the good category.
Okay.
Because like Easter candy's good, parade candy's good. It's just it might hurt your teeth a little bit. This is Shatter Me. Dystopian. This girl is like, if you touch her, you will die. Like just lethal touch. So she's been in captivity for like a year, maybe almost-ish, just all by herself.
How did they keep her in captivity? Couldn't she get out whenever she wanted just by, like, touching people?
No one comes to see her. Like, she's totally isolated. Like, total isolation.
How did they get her in there?
They just hand her food.
I see some problems with this entire thing.
Yeah, me too, but not those problems. So, she's getting a new roommate. That's kind of how this starts.
Oh.
And anyway, they want to use her to be a weapon.
So why would they give her a roommate if there's a good, like, are they trying to kill the person?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay.
They just want this roommate to like win her over to be a weapon.
Oh, okay.
Like be her.
Let me guess, it's a guy.
Yeah. So it's fine. It's a good book. I read the first 3. I want to say there's like 6 maybe out. I'm not actually positive. But I had a problem with the writing. It like starts out, she's kind of like not all the way there in her brain. So a lot of the words are crossed out, and that was hard for me, but also like I just struggled with the writing style in general too. So that's kind of where it's good. It's good.
You're maybe on the good side of the equation.
Yeah,
right?
It's like a solid old Laffy Taffy.
A Laffy Taffy. Okay,
yeah, okay.
Great.
This one's Delirium. It is also dystopian. And there's like this disease. Okay, no, love is the disease. And
okay.
If you love someone, it's basically going to ruin you, and no one needs to do that. So when you turn 18, I think some people do it later. But when you turn 18, you're eligible to get a procedure done, which will make you not love. So she's like barely coming up on maybe a couple months out on her procedure. She's really excited for it. She's not nervous. She's ready to get it over with so she can move on with her life and not have to like worry and tiptoe around boys and like have to, needless to say, things don't go quite as planned. And there are 3 of these books. They're really good.
I'm going to guess there's a boy.
Yeah.
She falls in love. Deliriously in love.
That's funny. Okay, so then sticking with dystopian, and it's hard not to pick this one, and I didn't want to pick this one, but I picked it because it really is the best in my opinion, especially for what Hunger Games did for books in general and people and readers, and I just feel like it really opened people, for me especially, like my age demographic. It was like, oh, reading is fun.
So would you describe this, I don't know, genre as young adult dystopian?
Young adult dystopian.
Is that what we go with it?
Yeah, for sure.
And it almost even has the young adult dystopian romance thing going on here.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think there's another level of young adult dystopian. Others that may have fit in here was like The Maze Runner, Ready Player One, maybe.
Yep. Both of those.
I'm trying to think of others that would fit in this. Interesting.
There's like The Red Queen. That's kind of dystopian.
Okay.
So there's a handful. There's a handful, but I stuck with this. So that's my first.
So good, better, best.
Yeah, this is like a good king size.
So another way to think about it is if you liked this one, you're probably going to really like this one and love this one.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Totally.
Good, better, best. All right. Shatter Me, Delirium, and Hunger Games. All right. I guess it's my turn then. So I guess subgenre that I'm going with here is the most epic of epic fantasies. So I'm looking at really long book series that tell massive epic fantasy tales. And I'm bunching 2 together here for the good. So this is Terry Goodkind's, Terry Goodkind's Secret of Truth, right? So this is the Wizard's First Rule. Decent read. It's good. This is, which one is it? Gardens of the Mood by Steve Erickson. So this is the Mall's End Book of the Fallen series. Both really good, both lots of books. 10 books in this one, 21 books in this one. Really big series, telling very epic tales pretty well. They both have interesting flaws. So I would say Terry Goodkind has an interesting flaw of getting lost in Richard, who's the main character's story a little bit. It becomes a little less compelling over time and a little repetitive. It's Richard goes somewhere, there's a problem, have to solve a problem. Him and his love interest figure things out, sometimes with the help of his grandfather wizard. But just an interesting story. It's fun. It's just by book 7 or 8, you're like, okay, I get how this is going to work. Thrown into a problem, figures part of the problem out, works it out, and uses power at the end to save things, right? You get the kind of each book is a repetitious thing. Best way to describe it. What's keeping it now Mall's End for me down in this good category as opposed to being a little better is it's almost a little too complex without some of the hand-holding that you may expect other places. And I don't even know so much if it's hand-holding at this point as I think it just may be a flaw in the writing structure where if I, who read lots and lots of fantasy, am very, very lost most of the time, it may just not be explaining very well what's happening. Is kind of where I'm at. So I'm hoping that this gets better as it goes along, right? So I'm a few books in, I'm hoping that more and more it becomes easier. And it's not that there's memorable characters, memorable plot lines or anything. These are both good books and good series. They're just not the peak of the craft here. Moving on to what I think is a good example of a step up here is Joe Abercrombie's Worlds. I don't even know what to call these. This is the first Law series. It's the first one. There's the Age of Madness series. There's a few others here. But a very interesting series that really goes generational. You have one generation, then another, and you have kind of this overarching characters and plot lines. And it does, I think, a much better job at the world building in a more consumable manner, but also memorable, interesting, and sets itself apart. One of the problems with for instance, the Secret of Truth series or Sword of Truth series is it feels maybe if not derivative of other groups, it feels very much like lots of other fantasy books.
Okay.
If that makes any sense there. So it feels like, hey, great, this one and also like the Shannara series by Terry Brooks or others, very, very similar books in here. The First Law series or Age of Madness or anything Joe Abercrombie writes are very much different. Different for lots of reasons. One of the reasons is it kind of adopts the anti-hero idea here, where you're not really sure who's the good guy and you're not sure who you're rooting for. And just about the time you start liking somebody, they turn out to be awful. But it's a really fascinating series and a great entry into epic fantasy, where you're going to want to read multiple of these books and the storyline continues on. Lastly, the one that I would put here at the best, this is Eye of the World. It's the first in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, finished by Brandon Sanderson. I would also probably put Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere work up here. Way of Kings, the Stormlight Archive, excuse me, as the Way of Kings, the first one, Stormlight Archive being the series, and also the Mistborn series up here in that equation as well. But for me, it really goes into good, better, and best. Wheel of Time is the best version I think I have seen of epic fantasy, where there's a million names, a million places, a million things, a million plot points, but it all weaves together into a cohesive narrative that is just, I mean, when I say it's transformational for fantasy, it really was. One of the quotes that used to be on the back of these books, I don't know if it's on the back of this one here, but it used to say on the Eye of the World one that that Robert Jordan perfected the world Tolkien began to reveal, right? So that gives you an idea. Tolkien is known for this large, epic, huge stories, literally religious-style backstories with things equivalent to a Bible for you to refer to, and Robert Jordan takes it and kind of moves beyond that into just incredible history, incredibly interesting reads and characters and fun, yet still approachable. You still get people, I think, that don't necessarily love this type of epic fantasy that can get into this and still love it because of how good the writing is and how good the characters are.
Yeah.
So, good, better, best. I realize it's probably controversial, but that's how I'm ranking them here. All right, what do you got?
Cool. This book is called Crave. I like talking about it because it's just so ridiculous that it's just great. And okay,
so is this one the one that's like self-published?
I don't know.
Because I think it is maybe potentially self-published. It's the one with like lots of typos and stuff in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's a self-published.
Is it really?
Romance that is trying to be Twilight.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know if that's true.
You don't know if it's self-published?
Yeah,
I think it is.
don't know.
I may be wrong.
Okay. Well, there is a girl whose parents die, and so she has to go up to Alaska to live with her uncle and her cousin. And turns out her uncle is a headmaster at a school for people with special abilities. And by special abilities, I mean like werewolves and vampires and witches, gargoyles, all of it.
All those things.
It's so great. I will say the writing really, really struggled. Lots of typos. I swear, there's like a day missing from this book. Like, the days are all, anyway, I was not very impressed with the writing. Also, it was just a little, out there, but it was good.
So you haven't read the second one, though, right?
No, I own the second one. I'll get to it eventually.
Yep, we have a problem. It's true. Okay.
Don't have a problem. Okay,
good.
So that's my good. My better, from Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Kind of same thing. We've got, the wolves, vampire, creatures. This is just a little better, well done, I think. Poppy is the main character, and she is a maiden who basically is, supposed to keep to herself, and she kind of, covers her face and is very, secretive and has to be this, hidden away person.
Does she hide in a room because if she touches somebody, they'll die?
Nope, that's over here.
Oh, okay. just checking.
Yeah, she is. It's a good series. I'm not done with it. I'm not caught up with it, I should say.
Vampires?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Vampires, werewolves, other creatures. Lots of creatures in this one. Better written. I feel like it just isn't the best. So.
Gotcha. So, but better writing.
Yes.
Better in quality.
Yes.
Overall here.
Yep.
Gotcha.
All right. The best for this category, I chose Crescent City.
So I'm really surprised that I'm not seeing Twilight right here. Twilight would be down here.
Yeah. Actually, Twilight would probably be right here.
What?
Like a Twix.
Wow. I'm amazed. I thought you liked Twilight.
Oh, everyone likes Twilight, but no one likes Twilight.
Oh, okay. So it's like.
But like, if you like Twilight, read these. You know.
Yep. So it's like a Twix. Actually, I like Twixes. I'm trying to think of like candy that you like, but it's nobody's
like
favorite.
Like a Milk Dud.
A Milk Dud. I feel like Snickers kind of sometimes fall on that for me.
Snickers are my very favorite.
I like peanut butter Snickers. Are your very favorite.
Yeah.
Like right. I like Snickers, but I'd rather have a Butterfinger and probably rather have a Twix. But I'm not turning down a Snickers. Anyway, okay. Sorry. Moving on.
Anyway, Crescent City, Sarah J. Maas. You get the same, like it's all the same. You get the creatures. This one, it is just better written. It's a better overall story and like more cohesive and just works. Bryce Quinlan is the main character, and she lives in Crescent City and has a gang of friends, but also has a lot of issues, a lot of baggage, and is working through a lot of stuff. And there are werewolves and vampires and angels and devils and I don't know there's devils.
Okay.
And it's really good. Also, there's like family elements that make this fun too. So this one's just, maybe just more epic would be the word. Like these are just simple. Sure. This one maybe is trying to come over into this, but I just think this is the best. Well done. Awesome. The wellest done.
I didn't realize it was vampires and things like that too.
Oh yeah. So lots of creatures.
So subgenre here, would this be the romantasy vampire section?
Yeah, the romantasy vampire section.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm sure I could find that in Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Actually,
but
I'm sure I could find all of these in one place in Barnes & Noble, but yes.
You probably would find them all. Actually, this is definitely more YA. These two are not YA.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Does it stay YA?
I don't know. I've only read the first one.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm curious about that.
But it's not like that YA. Don't like give it to your 13-year-old. Maybe like your 17-and-a-half-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And then like not till like you don't care what your kids are reading at all. So like their 30s.
In their 30s. Then you can read these.
Yeah, or married or.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Out of not your problem anymore.
Gotcha. All right. So good, better, best.
Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. So the next trope, I guess, or subgenre that I went with is what I'm going to call the orphan magic boy trope.
Orphan magic boy. Okay.
Yes. And now, notably, you're going to miss the most famous orphan magic boy here.
Where's Harry Potter?
And actually, maybe this shouldn't be the orphan magic boy so much as it is the
orphan.
It's not even orphan. It's like abandoned magic boy, because some of these they know who their parents are and they're very much alive, but they're not raised by them. That's probably the best way to describe it. Anyways, so that's the trope I'm going with here. Okay. The first one up that I think is good, don't get me wrong, it's good, is Eragon, right? I think lots of people read this. Really good YA, fun if you're just looking to get into something that's very much like a Harry Potter, or if your kids liked watching Lord of the Rings or something like that on TV, great thing to jump into. Easy to consume. It's a fun book. I'm still mesmerized that this was written by a 13-year-old. That's baffling to me.
I think I forget about that all the time.
It's really, really good. He, what's his name? Christopher Poloni, actually has a new series that's just coming out right now that I believe is sci-fi that I've been meaning to read.
Fun.
But yeah, really good. Has a few more books to follow up with it. Can be really easy to consume, like kids can understand it well. It's not super epic, but definitely has that hey, I was abandoned and I have this fancy heritage that I'm going to come into, and it's going to drive a lot of the plot here. It's good. Very good. Now, this, though, I would argue does it a little better. So this is Percy Jackson, Lightning Thief. Again, another very famous novel here. And in case you don't know, it's kind of based a little bit on Greek mythology. And Percy Jackson happens to be the son of a god, right? So a demigod goes to a school for kind of demigods and deals with all manner of different things and saves the world, right? There's a number of these books as well. This just does, I think, a little better than Eragon here, right? So good and better. Definitely worth a read, especially, again, if you like Harry Potter, if you like something like Artemis Fowl, if you're liking that level. These are both, I would say, maybe upper mid-grade to YA, right? So I think, a teenager reading these may get a little bored, right? But like a 12-year-old may be perfect in that range there, I think so. So, and then I think the best of this, or at least one of the best of them I've seen, is the Lightbringer series by Brendan Weeks. Brent Weeks, excuse me, by Brent Weeks. This is The Black Prism. It's the first one. You follow a character who finds out that his dad is a super magician. He was abandoned, and he also inherits a bunch of his super magician abilities. It is a really interesting story, and you also get the reuniting of the child and the parents in basically all of these versions here, which has interesting things that come up from it, but I think this does it much better than any of these. This definitely, I think just by length, if you compare them, you can tell that this definitely doesn't quite fall in that same YA category. Not that there'd be anything wrong at all with somebody, in their teens picking this up. Very clean, easy to read book, but there's just more to it. It's more in depth, there's more people to track, more plot lines, all those type of things, but does the abandoned child trope incredibly well, and is a fascinating book, and one of the few books where I often have a lot of books. We've got a bunch of books down here that we have that were in our TBRs, right? We're eventually going to read them. This one is one where I might have cheated a little bit on my TBR, and instead of like reading the 5 other things I had in the queue, I got the next book, right? And so that kind of shows how it was. Like I finished the one and I was like, nope, I want the next one. I'm not going to wait and read all these other things I need to read. Instead, I'm just jumping to this. And so in some ways, it was some of my favorite reading candy, for lack of a better word, and it was phenomenal.
There's good stuff out there.
There's lots of good stuff out there. It is interesting how often themes are repeated, right? And there seems to be those classic things. I guess that's why there's tropes and stereotypes, is you get this repeated thing.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see people kind of up their game, take the ideas that are very common and reuse them and twist them in such a way that sometimes is more fulfilling.
Yeah, it's so true. I just think it's really fun that you can have little bits of everything, but everything's just a little bit different.
Yep.
That sounded really stupid. But
No, it's very true, right? Like you can have books that are very, very similar in lots of ways, but I may love one and not the other. But there's somebody else that may love the other and not the one that I love.
Yep.
And it just there's just these small twists that hit different taste buds differently. Just like the candy, right? The candy that we love may not be the candy that you love. The books that we loved and thought were good, better, best are probably not what you think. And we'd love to hear from you. Please let us know what books you think are good, better, best of each other. Do you agree or disagree with all of our things here? We'd love to hear in the comments. Please let us know, and we'll tell you why you're wrong. Just kidding.
That's so rude. I'd rather argue candy than books, because books, everyone can be opinionated, but there's...
Well, the best thing about books is that they're a lot like candy, right? Candy, it's hard to go wrong with candy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like even bad candy is still sweet and you still kind of like it. It may not be amazing, but it's still candy. Books are the same way.
You know how there's people who don't like candy?
Yeah.
And there's people who don't like books?
Yeah. The people that don't have any joy in their life?
Yeah. But where is the joy?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway. Well, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Blake.
We're Blamie.
I guess so.
Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Bye. Really, though. Like, it happens all the time. Like, I don't like candy. Or I don't read.
I know.